Let's start with something simple. Say this line with me. That's a thought, not a fact. Go ahead, whisper it. Out loud if you can. That's a thought, not a fact. You've already taken your first step. Why? Because the moment you learn to separate your thoughts from facts, you weaken the power of negativity. That's the difference between being trapped in your mind and being free to choose your direction. And today, I'm going to walk you through how to do exactly that, step by step. This isn't another lecture filled with shiny quotes or empty affirmations. This is about you, about the battles you fight inside your own head, the ones no one else even knows are happening. So let me ask you something real. Have you ever felt like your own brain was working against you? You try to stay positive, but it drags you back into old fears, into regrets, into shame. Maybe you smile at people on the outside while deep inside a storm is raging. Or maybe you've laid in bed, eyes wide open, cycling through the same painful thought again and again. Why can't I stop? Why do I feel so low, even when nothing looks wrong on the outside? What's broken in me? Here's the truth, and it may surprise you. There is nothing broken in you. You are not weak. You are not crazy. You are not beyond repair. The real problem isn't you. It's the programming you've been carrying since childhood. The automatic patterns stored deep in your subconscious. Those patterns are the enemy, not you. And once you see them for what they are, you can rewire them. This episode is your guide to doing exactly that. We're going to break open the negative beliefs that have shaped your thinking. We'll trace where they came from, expose the lies, and then build new foundations that actually support you. By the end, you'll not only understand your mind better, you'll have tools you can use tonight to take back control. And here's something extra. While we're going through all of this, you'll also be improving your English. I'll explain everything in clear, natural English, with real stories and examples you can follow. You'll learn how to shadow sentences, pick up phrases, and practice along the way. That means 2 wins in 1, stronger emotions and stronger language skills. So take a slow, deep breath with me. Because what you're about to hear may be exactly what your soul has been waiting for, maybe for years. Stage 1. Understanding where negative thoughts come from. Most people make the same mistake. They try to fight negative thoughts directly. They tell themselves, I just need to stop thinking this way. I should be stronger. I should be happier. But here's the problem. You've been fighting the wrong battle. Negative thoughts are not random. They don't fall from the sky. They don't come from nowhere. They come from one place, your subconscious mind. And here's the shocking part. Your subconscious controls about 95% of your daily thoughts, emotions, and actions, which means you are fully conscious for only about 5% of your life. The rest? It's a replay of old recordings. Think of it like this. From the moment you were a child, your subconscious was recording everything. The tone of your parents' voices, the way your teacher reacted when you made a mistake, the look in your friend's eyes when you were excluded. Every small moment that carried emotion got stored. And now, as an adult, those recordings replay as thoughts. So when you hear yourself saying, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, nobody really loves me, That isn't really you. That's just old programming echoing back. Let me show you what I mean. Daniel is 26. He's smart, kind, funny. But every time he starts something new, a job, a relationship, a personal project, he ends up quitting. Why? Because the moment it gets hard, a voice inside whispers, "You're a failure. Don't even try. You'll just embarrass yourself again." And Daniel believes that voice. But here's what Daniel doesn't remember. When he was 9 years old, he stood nervously in front of his class to give a presentation. His voice shook. He stumbled on a word. The whole class laughed. Even the teacher smiled. Daniel went home in tears, but he never told anyone. That tiny moment carved a scar in his subconscious. That scar became a voice. That voice became a belief. And that belief shaped his entire adult life. That's what negative thoughts really are. They're not truths. They're old wounds, disguised as truth. They are echoes from a time when you were too small to defend yourself. So what do? You don't fight them like enemies. You investigate them like a detective. Next time a thought says, "I'm not good enough," pause and ask, where did this come from? Who made me believe this? What memory is tied to this? Because once you trace a thought back to its origin, it begins to lose its power. Here's your first mission. Tonight, take 10 minutes with a pen and paper. At the top of the page, write this. What are the 3 negative thoughts I repeat the most? For each one, ask, where did this come from? Who first taught me this? You may be shocked by what you uncover. Most of those heavy thoughts didn't even begin with you. They came from someone else. But they've been living inside your head, rent-free for years. The moment you recognize the lie, you stop being trapped inside it. Remember this, you can't fix your mind unless you understand it. You can't silence your thoughts unless you know their roots. And once you realize that 95% of your daily thinking is just old programming, you'll see clearly. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who has the power to rewrite them. You've probably heard people say things like, "I'm trying to stay positive. I'm journaling. I'm repeating affirmations." And yet, nothing changes. The same fears keep returning. The same emotions, the same exhaustion, the same guilt. So why does it feel like you're moving in circles? Because you are. Welcome to the loop, the invisible mental trap quietly running in the background of your life. What a loop really is. Think of a loop like a song stuck in your head. You try to push it away, but it comes back louder. You fight it, and it digs in deeper. Here's how the loop works. First, trigger. Something small happens. You're ignored, you make a mistake, you see. Someone else succeed. That spark ignites insecurity or fear. 2. Thought. Your brain instantly pulls up an old belief. I'm not good enough. They don't care about me. I always ruin things. 3. Emotion. That thought sparks pain, shame, anger, sadness, anxiety. 4th, reaction. You respond in a way that keeps you stuck. You withdraw, scroll endlessly, binge food, overthink, or cry silently. 5. Guilt. Then comes the guilt. Why did I do this again? Why can't I control myself? That guilt becomes the next trigger. And just like that, the cycle restarts. Trigger, thought, emotion, reaction, guilt, round and round, living inside the loop. You know those mornings when you wake up and, before the day even begins, you already feel drained? You grab your phone, scroll through social media, and the comparisons start instantly. Someone's vacation, someone's perfect body, someone's success. And then one small mistake, a spilled coffee, a slip of the tongue, and suddenly the whole day feels ruined. And then the guilt shows up. You beat yourself up for being so negative. You call yourself weak. You feel ashamed because you're still not healed. But here's the cruel part. The harder you try to run from the loop, the tighter it pulls. Why? Because resistance is still a tension. And what we resist only grows stronger. Amira's story. Let me introduce you to Amira. She's 24, bright, funny, full of potential. But inside, she's caught in one of the darkest loops you can imagine. Here's her day. She wakes up, looks in the mirror, and whispers, "I look so tired. Why am I so ugly?" At university, she sees groups of students laughing together and thinks, "Why don't I have friends like that? Maybe I'm unlikable." In class, one mistake sends her spiraling. Now everyone thinks I'm stupid. Later, she scrolls through flawless Instagram posts. Each photo cuts deeper. She's so beautiful. She's so confident. Look at her life. Look at mine. That night, she cries quietly into her pillow, making sure no one hears. But here's the truth. Nothing around her was truly a threat. She wasn't in danger. She wasn't being attacked. What she was experiencing were mental traps, loops so convincing they felt like reality. The loop convinced her the pain was her fault. It whispered that needing help meant she was weak. And eventually, she accepted the loop as just who I am. That's how people get stuck for years, not because they are broken, but because the loop is persuasive, breaking the pattern. But here's the hope. You don't break a loop by wrestling every thought. You break it by breaking the pattern. Think about it. You can't stop every trigger in life. You can't erase every thought that pops up. You can't instantly control every emotion. But you can choose your reaction. That's the weak point. The loop only continues if you respond the same way. Change your reaction, and the loop loses its fuel. Amira's turning point. For Amira, the turning point came when a therapist told her, when the thought comes, don't fight it. Don't argue with it. Don't feed it. Just notice it and let it pass. So the next morning, when she looked in the mirror and heard, "You look terrible," she didn't cry. She didn't argue. She didn't spiral. She just smiled, a fake smile at first, and whispered, "Interesting thought." Then she moved on with her morning. She made tea. She played a song. She put on earrings. She walked into class, looked at someone, and said, "Hi." That tiny shift, ignoring the voice, changing her reaction, broke the loop for one day. Not forever, not perfectly, but for that moment, she won. And one small victory makes the next one possible. Your exercise tonight. Here's your challenge for tonight. Write this at the top of a page. What is one loop I live inside every day? Then break it down. What's the trigger? What's the thought? What's the emotion? What's the reaction? Finally, write one small thing you'll do differently next time. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to interrupt the pattern. Maybe instead of hiding, you'll say hello to one person. Instead of scrolling, you'll step outside for 5 minutes. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," you'll remind yourself, "I'm still learning." Even the smallest interruption is enough to weaken the loop. Because remember, you're not broken, lazy, or doomed. You're simply caught in a cycle you didn't know existed. But now that you see it, you've already taken the first step to stepping out. Most people desperately want to silence their negative thoughts. They pray for peace. They search for quick fixes. But here's the irony. They keep feeding the very thoughts they're trying to escape. It's like drinking poison every morning and then wondering why you feel sick all day. You cannot heal your mind if you continue to fuel the very patterns that hurt you. You cannot silence negativity if your daily habits are designed to grow it. So let's get crystal clear. If your mind is a garden, then your habits are the seeds you plant and the water you pour. Whatever you feed grows. The black mirror. Picture this. You walk into a room with a giant black mirror on the wall. Every morning, you stand in front of it. But this mirror doesn't show your real reflection. It magnifies your insecurities. It highlights your worst fears. It whispers your deepest doubts. And yet, you keep staring into it. Morning after morning, night after night. You let that mirror dictate how you feel. Now here's the twist. That mirror is your phone. It's the endless scroll of fear-based news, the flawless photos that make you feel less than, the videos that whisper you're falling behind, the comments that cut you down. And the cruelest part? You carry that mirror everywhere, in your pocket, next to your pillow, right up against your skin. And then you wonder why your mind feels broken. Without even realizing it, you've been feeding the enemy inside with your time, your focus, your attention. 3 hidden ways you feed negativity. There are 3 main ways people unknowingly fuel negative thoughts. Let's break them down together. 1. Information overload. Digital poison. You scroll for an hour, maybe 2. Afterwards, you can't even remember what you saw. But your brain remembers. It records every single face, every perfect lifestyle, every moment of fake perfection. Even if you say, "I don't take it seriously," your subconscious doesn't care. It stores it anyway. After 10 days of consuming that poison, you feel drained, insecure, and strangely empty. Not because of your real life, but because of what you've been feeding your mind. 2. Toxic repetition, programming on repeat. Think about the songs you listen to, the shows you binge, the words you repeat. Music is powerful, but so are the lyrics you let cycle inside your head. You broke me. Nobody loves me. I want to disappear. You may shrug and say, "It's just a song." But your brain doesn't understand just. It understands repetition. And repetition is programming. Without realizing it, you're programming yourself to believe you're broken. 3. The daily mental diet, your everyday conversations. What do you talk about every single day? If your words are mostly complaints about what you hate, who hurt you, how unfair life is, What are you feeding your mind? Negativity becomes your default language. And after a while, it doesn't even feel like negativity anymore. It just feels like you, the drop of ink. Imagine a glass of clear water sitting on a table, pure, clean, balanced. Then someone drops in a single drop of black ink. The water changes slightly. The next day, another drop. Then another. Over time, the water grows darker and darker. Not because it was bad water, but because of what kept being added. That glass is your mind. The ink is the content you consume, the words you repeat, the people you surround yourself with, the messages you allow in. You didn't become negative overnight. It happened slowly. Drop by drop. How to stop feeding the enemy. So, what do? How do you stop poisoning your own mind? 3 simple steps. First, clean your feed like you clean your fridge. You wouldn't keep rotten food in your kitchen, so why keep rotten content on your phone? Unfollow pages that make you feel less than. Mute people who only post fake perfection. Delete apps if you need to. Protect your peace. It's more valuable than staying updated. Second, replace, don't resist. Don't just say, I'll stop watching junk. Replace it with something that builds you. Listen to stories of growth. Play calming music. Read even one page of a book that lifts you up. Fill your space with voices that strengthen you, not weaken you. Third, detox your mornings and nights. The first 30 minutes after you wake up and the last 30 before bed are when your mind is most open to suggestion. Don't waste those golden hours scrolling through chaos. Instead, breathe. Write 3 things you're grateful for. Whisper one powerful sentence. Today, I protect my mind. Tonight's mission. Here's your task for tonight. Write this question down. What 3 things am I feeding my mind that are hurting me? Answer honestly, then ask yourself, what will I feed my mind instead, starting now? Even small changes matter. Replace one toxic habit with one nourishing one. Stop giving free rent to what destroys you. Because your mind isn't broken, it's just been badly fed. And you are not the darkness you've absorbed. You are the light that's been hidden under all that noise. And once you stop feeding the enemy, you create space for peace, clarity, and strength to grow again. You brush your teeth every morning, don't you? You shower, you change your clothes. Maybe you tidy your room or wash the dishes. Why? Because you know what happens if you don't. Your body starts to smell, your home gets messy, and you feel uncomfortable. But let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you cleaned your mind? I'm not talking about organizing your Instagram feed, updating your bookshelf, or crossing things off your to-do list. I mean the actual space inside your head, the place you live every single day. Because here's the truth. You don't really live in your house. You live in your mind. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you don't clean that space daily, it fills up with clutter, fear, stress, noise, confusion. Even if your outside life looks fine, inside you'll feel suffocated. The dust that builds up. Most people believe the negative thoughts only come from major traumas or painful memories. And yes, those shape us. But there's something else, something quieter, that creates just as much damage. Accumulation. Think of it like dust. Even if you keep your windows shut, dust still settles on the furniture. In the same way, mental dust collects inside your mind simply from living life. A stressful conversation you had earlier, a decision you've been avoiding, a deadline that makes you nervous, that offhand comment that stung but you brushed aside, the worry you pushed down because you didn't have time to feel it. None of these moments are dramatic on their own, but together they build layers of mental clutter. And when you don't clear them out, they start to weigh on you. The cost of mental clutter. Here's what happens when your inner space is overcrowded. Stress stacks up in invisible layers. Irritation sneaks in, so even small things make you snap. You feel fragile, like one wrong sentence could shatter you. You carry a deep tiredness, even if nothing big happened. Joy fades, not because life is bad, but because there's no room left for it to breathe. Slowly, without realizing it, you stop being you. You stop laughing freely. You stop speaking with confidence. You stop trusting your own ideas. You stop dreaming big dreams. Not because you're lazy or broken, but because your mental room is simply too full. The room of boxes. Picture this with me. Imagine walking into a tiny room stacked wall to wall with 100 open cardboard boxes. Each box holds a piece of your mind. One box contains an old painful memory. Another holds your unfinished goals. One is stuffed with financial worries. Another hides your fear of rejection. One is filled with an argument you never resolved. Another contains the guilt you carry quietly. Now imagine trying to sit and relax in that room. You can't. There's no space. There's no air. That's exactly what your mind feels like when you never clean it. 6 daily practices to clean your mind. So how do you clear the clutter? Not once in a while, but daily. The way you brush your teeth, the way you shower, the way you eat. Here are 6 simple, powerful practices you can start tonight. No apps, no tools, just you and your intention. 1. The thought shelf method. When your brain replays the same problem over and over, you don't have to solve it right away. Just make space. Imagine a shelf in your mind. Place the thought there and tell yourself, I'll handle this later. This stops your brain from looping like a broken record. 2. The temperature check. Pause once a day, maybe mid-afternoon, and ask, what am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? Why might I be feeling this? Even if the answer is, I don't know, you've already created awareness. And awareness itself clears confusion. 3. The one-word dump. At the end of the day, write down just one word that captures your emotion. Heavy, lonely, hopeful, tired. Naming it is enough to begin releasing it. The 3-minute mental walkthrough. Close your eyes and replay your entire day and fast forward. Notice what you thought, how you felt, when your mood shifted. This isn't about overthinking. It's about noticing. 3 minutes of noticing can release more tension than hours of distraction. 5. Speak to yourself like a child. Before bed, whisper something kind to yourself, as if you were comforting a little child who felt scared. Say, you did your best. I'm proud of you. You're safe now. Each night you do this, you gently repair your self-image. 6. Micro forgiveness. Every day, forgive one tiny thing. A friend who didn't text back. Someone who interrupted you. A mistake you made. A small irritation. Say quietly, I release this. My peace matters more. Tonight's challenge. Pick 3 of these practices and try them tonight. Make them as routine as brushing your teeth. Because here's the truth. Peace is not something life randomly hands you. Peace is a habit you choose every single day. Don't wait until you collapse. Don't wait until the breakdown. Start clearing the clutter now. Because you deserve a mind that feels light, clear, and alive. Here's a truth most people never realize. You will never win a war by screaming at your enemy. And you will never find peace by screaming at your thoughts. But that's what we all try to do, isn't it? We get tired of the voices in our head and say, stop thinking this. Why am I like this? I shouldn't feel this way. We push, we resist, we argue. And what happens? The voice grows louder. Why? Because you can't beat a thought by fighting it. The pink elephant problem. Let me show you. Right now, don't think about a pink elephant. Whatever you do, do not imagine a pink elephant. What's the first image that just popped into your mind? A pink elephant. That's how the brain works. It doesn't really process the word don't. The more you try to push a thought away, the more you call it into focus. So when you tell yourself, don't feel anxious, don't feel sad, don't think that your brain actually highlights it. And the harder you push, the stronger it grows. Why fighting never works. Every time you argue with a negative thought, you're telling your brain, this thought matters. This thought deserves my energy. This thought has power. And of course it grows. So what's the way out? You don't fight the thought. You replace it. Think of it like this. If a depressing song starts playing on the radio, you don't stand in front of the speaker begging it to stop. You change the station. You put on your own music. That's replacement. You don't erase thoughts. You overwrite them. The chalkboard metaphor. Your mind is like a chalkboard. If someone writes something cruel on it, you're not good enough. You always fail. The only way to get rid of it is to write something new over it. If you keep writing new words, the old ones fade into the background. And this isn't lying to yourself. It's redirecting the spotlight. Try this with me. Let's practice right now. I'll say the negative thought, and you'll repeat the replacement with me. I always mess up. I learn faster because I've failed before. No one cares about me. Even if I forget, someone still loves me. I'll never be successful. I haven't reached it yet, but I will. I'm too sensitive. I feel deeply, and that's my strength. What if I fail? What if I succeed? Say them out loud with me. Because your brain believes the voice it hears most often. Train it with the voice you want. The wall and the hole. Here's another picture. Imagine a huge white wall, freshly painted, beautiful. But in the middle is a tiny black hole. Most people walk past and never notice. But one person stops and stares. They obsess. Why is there a hole? Will it get bigger? Did I cause it? Soon, that tiny hole becomes their entire world. But the whole never changed. Their focus did. This is how negative thoughts work. They are small blemishes in a wall of beauty. Replacement is stepping back to see the whole wall again. 3 replacement tools. Now, let me give you 3 simple replacement techniques. These are grounded in real brain science, and they work. 1. The reversal technique. When a scary thought appears, flip it. Ask, what's the opposite truth that could also be real? Example, I'll probably fail this interview. Flip, I might surprise myself and do better than I expect. 2. The so what method. Most negative thoughts are just your brain being dramatic. What if I mess this up? What if I lose? Instead of spiraling, say, so what if I do? Would I still be alive? Could I still grow? Would I still matter? That simple so what shrinks the fear. 3. The upgrade method. Think of your brain like software. Don't delete the thought, upgrade it. I can't do this. I'm figuring it out. I'm not ready. I'm becoming more ready every day. It's a gentler way of reprogramming that feels believable to your brain. Your exercise tonight. Here's what I want you to do. Write down the 3 most common negative thoughts you've had this week. Then, create 1 replacement sentence for each one. Put them on a sticky note or set them as a phone reminder. Say them every morning when you wake up. Say them again whenever the old voices return. Remember, your brain believes what it hears often. So make sure it hears you. Because you weren't born to live in a storm of thoughts you can't control. You weren't meant to scream at your own mind until you're exhausted. You were meant to change the forecast, to write a new story inside your head. Replace fear with possibility. Replace shame with growth. Replace doubt with progress. Your mind isn't broken. It's just been playing the same old tape for too long. And now it's time to change the music. Let me ask you a hard question. If another person spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would you want them in your life? Would you choose them as a friend? Most of us never stop to think about it. But when we fail, when we forget something, when we feel rejected, what's the first voice we hear? It's rarely gentle. It's rarely kind. It says, "You're so stupid. You always mess things up. Nobody cares about you. You're a burden. You'll never get it right." Now think about that for a second. If someone else said even one of those things to you, you'd walk away. You'd cut them off. You'd protect yourself. But you can't walk away from your own mind. And that's why it hurts so deeply. Because you're living with an inner critic who never leaves. The inner bully. Most people have a critic inside. But for some, that critic grows into something worse. An inner bully. And bullies don't guide. They don't encourage. They attack. They whisper, "You're behind. You're not as good as them. You're weak. You're ugly. You're lazy. You don't deserve love." And you believe them because they sound like your own voice. But here's the truth. That voice isn't you. It's learned. Somewhere along the way, you absorbed cruelty instead of kindness. And now it plays on repeat. The child test. Picture this. A 7-year-old child comes to you, eyes filled with shame, and says, "I made a mistake today. I feel so bad about myself." I don't think I'm good enough. Would you scream at that child? Would you say, "You're an idiot"? Nobody likes you. You'll never be anything? Of course not. You'd kneel down. You'd hug them. You'd say, "It's okay. We all make mistakes. You're still worthy. Let's try again tomorrow." So why don't we offer ourselves the same kindness? Why don't we speak to our own hearts with compassion? The gardener metaphor. Think of your mind as a garden and your self-talk as the gardener. Every word you say to yourself is either watering the plants or cutting their roots. If the gardener says, "This plant is useless, it will never grow. I hate this plant," then even the strongest flower will wither. But if the gardener whispers, "You're growing slowly, but you're still growing. It's okay if today was hard. I believe in you," then even the weakest flower finds the strength to rise again. Your words are the sunlight, the water, the soil of your inner world. They decide whether you shrink or stand tall. Why negative self-talk matters. Negative self-talk isn't harmless. It's not just words. It leaves scars. It kills confidence. It feeds shame and anxiety. It makes you believe you are the problem. And when you believe you are broken, you stop trying to heal. You stop believing in better, not because better doesn't exist, but because your inner voice convinced you that you don't deserve it. But imagine if this shifted. Imagine if, the next time you made a mistake, instead of saying, "I'm so stupid," you said, "I made a mistake, and I'm learning." Imagine if, when you felt exhausted, instead of saying, "I'm lazy," you said, "I've worked hard. I need rest, not guilt." Imagine if, when you felt jealous, instead of shaming yourself, you said, "I'm human. I feel things. And that's okay." This isn't lying to yourself. It's choosing to treat yourself like someone you love. 5 practices for loving self-talk. Here are 5 powerful ways to start changing the way you speak to yourself. 1. Give your inner critic a name. When you think, "I'm a failure," it feels like the truth. But if you name the voice, Critical Carl or Doubt Dan, you separate it from yourself. Next time you can say, "Oh, that's just Carl again." Suddenly, you're not the voice, you're the listener. 2. The best friend technique. When you feel low, ask, "If my best friend felt this way, what would I say to them?" Then say those words to yourself. Out loud. 3. The mirror moment. Every morning, look yourself in the eyes and say 3 short sentences. "I'm trying. I'm still here. I forgive you." It may feel strange at first, but over time, your reflection begins to heal. 4. Rewrite the sentence. Take one cruel sentence you often repeat and rewrite it. You're a burden. Your feelings matter too. You always mess up. You're learning just like everyone else. Nobody wants you. You're still learning how to love and be loved. 5. Daily forgiveness. Each night before bed, whisper, "Whatever I did wrong today, I forgive myself. Whatever I forgot or overreacted to, I'm still learning. I will not carry this guilt into tomorrow." A gentle ritual. Tonight, sit quietly for a moment. Place your hand on your heart. Whisper, "I'm sorry I've been so cruel to you. You never deserved that voice. From now on, I will talk to you like someone I love. And if the tears come, let them." They are not weakness. They are proof that you are reconnecting with yourself. Because the truth is, the world already has enough critics, enough judgment, enough cruelty. Don't join them. Be the one voice in your own life that says, you are still worthy. Even now, especially now. Triggers aren't always loud or obvious. They don't walk into your life shouting, hey, I'm here to ruin your day. Often they're quiet, subtle, familiar. Sometimes they even feel comforting. And yet they quietly pull you back into the older version of yourself. The version that was scared, doubtful, or stuck in fear. The ticking clock. Imagine living in a room with a small ticking clock. Tick, tick, tick. You've heard it so long that you stop noticing it. It fades into the background. But one day, you remove the clock. Suddenly, there's silence. And you realize, I've been living with that noise for years. That's exactly how emotional triggers work. They become background noise in your life. You don't even notice them anymore. But they shape your mood, your choices, your energy. It could be a ringtone, a certain smell, a photo on your wall, a group chat that always drains you, a place that carries painful memories. And you wonder, why do I feel anxious? Why do I feel heavy? But you're still sleeping next to reminders of the darkest times in your life, the mistake we make. Here's what many people believe. I shouldn't have to cut people off. I should be strong enough to handle it. Life isn't fair. I just need to deal with it. But listen closely. Healing is not about proving how tough you are. Healing is about protecting your energy so you can actually grow. Think about it. If you had a fresh wound, would you run through a dusty field? No, you'd cover it. You'd clean it. You'd protect it until it was strong enough to heal. Your mind deserves the same care. The subtle triggers. So let's be real about what might need to go. The nice but draining friend. They never insult you outright, but you leave every conversation feeling smaller. They compete. They dismiss. They bring up your past. It's okay to let them go. The unspoken expectations. That voice that whispers, I should be more successful. By now, I should be married. I should already be happy. That isn't motivation. It's a disguised whip. Cut it off. Your emotional home. Some people live in anger, others in guilt, sadness, or fear. Not because they love it, but because it's familiar. When something goes wrong, that's where they return. Ask yourself, what emotion do I default to when I'm overwhelmed? Who taught me this was normal? Chances are it isn't even yours. It was passed down. You just rented it for so long, you forgot you could move out. Tonight's task. Here's a practical way to uncover your triggers. Write a list titled, Things That Silently Pull Me Back into Darkness. Then create 3 columns. 1. What is it? 2. Why does it affect me? 3. What will I do to protect myself from it? Be honest, don't sugarcoat. If a person belongs on that list, write their name. If a place triggers old pain, write it down. If a routine keeps you stuck, admit it. And don't feel guilty. This isn't about rejection. It's about self-respect. Protect what's blooming. You cannot step into the next version of yourself while you keep entertaining the people, places, and patterns that once convinced you you weren't enough. You're not weak for needing space. You're wise for choosing peace. You don't owe the past another visit. You owe your future a better foundation. Think of it this way. If a plant isn't growing, you don't blame the seed. You change the environment. You protect what's blooming. And that's what you're doing when you cut off hidden triggers. You're making space for new growth, new strength, and a new identity. If you're still here, listening, I know something about you. You've been through things. You've cried quietly when no one was watching. You've questioned your worth. You've carried weight that nobody else even knew existed. You've been strong for others, even when you were breaking inside. But now, it's time to use all of that. Because pain doesn't have to be the villain of your story. Pain can be the beginning of your transformation, the gold in the cracks. In Japan, there's an art form called kintsugi. When a ceramic bowl breaks, they don't throw it away. They don't hide the cracks. They repair it with gold. Real gold. And when it's finished, the bowl isn't just whole again. It's stronger, more beautiful, more valuable because it was broken. That's what your pain can be. Every tear, every scar, every fear you thought would destroy you, that's your gold. If you let it, pain becomes wisdom. Pain becomes strength. Pain becomes your story. 4 shifts that transform pain. So how do you actually turn pain into power? Here are 4 shifts that can change everything. Shift 1. Don't ask, why me? Ask, what now? You may never get the answer to why life hurt you, but you can always ask, now that I've been through this, who do I want to become? Pain turns into power when you stop searching for revenge and start searching for rebirth. Shift 2. Transform emotion into expression. Every emotion is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be redirected. Anxiety can become art. Loneliness can become leadership. Anger can become boundaries. Sadness can become storytelling. Fear can become fuel. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who say, here's my scar, and here's what I built with it. Shift 3. Use your pain to help one other person. When you feel stuck, go help someone who is feeling what you once felt. You don't need a degree or a platform. Sometimes healing begins with a simple sentence. I've been there too. And I see you. Pain multiplies in silence, but it dissolves in connection. Shift 4. Build your identity on survival, not suffering. Stop saying, I was broken. Start saying, I am rebuilding. Stop saying, they ruined me. Start saying, I rebuilt myself. Pain is the fire. You are the gold that survived the flame. A new chapter. Listen closely. You didn't come this far just to feel a little better. You came this far to transform. This isn't just about quieting negative thoughts. This is a reintroduction to your power. Everything you've lived through has been shaping you, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. So here's my final message. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not your thoughts. You are the strength that rises in the middle of all 3 and chooses to become something greater. This isn't the end of your story. It's the end of a version of you that didn't know better. The version that whispered, maybe I'll never heal. Maybe I'll never be free. Now you know different. You've seen the enemy. You've studied the patterns. You've cleaned the clutter. You've rewritten the voice in your head. You've protected your peace. You've begun turning pain into power. And that is not a small thing. That is courage. That is transformation. That is the beginning of a new life. My final words to you. If no one has told you this today, let me be the first. I am proud of you. Not because you're perfect, but because you showed up. Broken, scared, tired, unsure, and you still listened, you still tried. That means you're ready. Your thoughts don't control you. You decide which ones stay. You decide the pace of your healing. You decide the story you write next. And if you keep showing up the way you did today, your life will not stay the same. Because small steps, done with love and honesty, always turn into powerful lives. So here's my invitation. If this episode touched your heart, if it made you feel seen, understood, and stronger, subscribe and stay on this journey with me. Not for me, but for you. Because this space isn't just about English, it's about transformation. Here, we speak slowly, clearly, and deeply. So even if you're still learning, you'll never feel lost. Here, you'll always feel understood. So subscribe, turn on the bell, stay with us, because you belong here. And this is only the beginning. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. Thank you for fighting. I believe in you. Now go, become the person you were always meant to be.